Alright guys, welcome back to Queens of the Damned, a horror podcast. This week we are celebrating Valentine's Day, and therefore we decided we were going to let our significant others choose the movies that we talk about. And it actually went a lot better than we expected, which is great. We all got movies that we really loved, and we had a very good conversation. So nothing really fits a theme this week. We're just kind of talking about whatever our boyfriends chose for us. So we hope you enjoy. Happy listening. So, my boyfriend picked Train to Busan for my movie. So, it came out in 2016, and it takes place in South Korea. It's a foreign film. I feel like most people have seen this movie because when it came out, it was super, super popular and everybody was talking about it. But it is a zombie movie, even though they never say that word in the movie. And they are, I don't know, to me, they're pretty different from a lot of the zombies we see, especially today. Like, I guess I'm thinking of, like, Walking Dead zombies, but I guess they can be compared to World War Z, right? I didn't actually see that movie. I just saw, like, footage from it. But I'm pretty sure those zombies were, like, running zombies, which is how they are in Train to Busan, and they're more so, like, just rabid human beings. It's an incredible horror movie, but it's also pretty freaking sad, too. The ending is just heartbreaking. But basically, okay, I could not keep track of names. The only name I could keep track of was the daughter, so I apologize. But the main characters are a father and his daughter, Suan, and they don't have a good relationship. The father is kind of absent just because he's working all of the time. And Suan wants to go see her mother for her birthday because she just wants to be with her mom. She doesn't want to be with her dad at all. And so her dad takes her on a trip to Busan in a train. And basically an outbreak happens. They say there was a leak in a biotech warehouse. And basically all starts with a young woman who runs onto the train before anyone can stop her, and she's been bitten. And then from there, the virus spreads extremely fast. Once people are bitten, they turn within minutes. And it's really cool the way that they turn. Their eyes go cloudy. And you can see kind of like, I don't even know what you would call it. Like their veins start turning like purple or almost black. They're really scary looking. So you kind of have this group that you follow throughout the movie of some of the baseball players. It ends up just being one of the baseball players, his like girlfriend, a pregnant woman and her husband. They're kind of the main people in the group. But basically it follows these people trying to survive on this train while the outbreak, is occurring. And there are some pretty crazy scenes in this. Like my favorite ones are when there's just like a wave of zombies. Cause you guys have seen this movie, right?
I have not.
You haven't seen this movie, Nikki? Oh
no.
My god.
Okay. It's a kind of classic.
There's like this scene, or there's like multiple scenes of just like these waves of zombies. Like they're just so, I don't know, they're so attracted to the people because they want to eat them, obviously, but they just go nuts and they will like trip over each other and fall over each other, and there's just like waves of them coming at you. It's pretty crazy. And it kind of starts to feel like, were there really this many people on the train? Because there really are a lot of zombies. But I don't know. Like the whole first half of the movie is pretty much them just trying to survive on this train. And there ends up being this character. He's a total asshole. Like the whole time I was thinking of it, it was kind of like he was just like a Donald Trump character, to be honest. Because he doesn't want to let any of the people into his train car who have like fought through like these cars of zombies. He doesn't want to let them into his train car because he's like, oh, they're infected. They could be infected. We can't let them in. And so they almost die. They lose one of the best characters in the movie because he wouldn't let them in. And then when they end up getting in, he locks them in the vestibule because he's like, they're infected. He's an asshole. And he's responsible for like 3 deaths after that. So, but God, I really like, the best part of this movie is the ending to me. Because for the most part, what you see is this transformation in the father from him being so absent and his daughter pretty much hating him. I mean, in the beginning of the movie, she says, you only care about yourself. That's why mommy left. Which is so sad to hear a child say to their father. But like you see him go from this character who is only concerned about himself and his daughter. When he finds out that a town is quarantined, he doesn't tell anybody else in the train. He just tries to get himself and his daughter out of there. I want people to watch the movie and experience it if they haven't seen it, you know? But basically he grows from this character that's only concerned about himself to being more concerned about other people than himself. And the ending is very touching. I hadn't seen this movie since it came out, and so when I rewatched it, I really almost started crying again because I forgot about the ending. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really great movie. I think more than anything, it really is about the father's growth throughout the movie. Yeah, and it's, I don't know. It feels very different from The Walking Dead, even though The Walking Dead is primarily about the people, but it feels different in Train to Busan. I don't know. Like, the zombies feel to me so secondary. Like, I don't really care about them. I only care about the people. Like, if the zombies weren't there, I don't know if I would really care that much, to be honest. But I don't know. It's a great movie. It's very different. And like you said, I think when I saw it, I think I was more willing to watch more zombie movies after that because it was just so refreshing after The Walking Dead. Oh my God. The Walking Dead. That reminds me, our first Valentine's Day episode, I talked about Negan. I've come full circle.
Wow. That seems like a really long time ago now.
I know.
I love things that are rough to watch. Like, every once in a while, I just want to sit down and be ruined by a movie.
Is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, my boyfriend chose Insidious, which thank God, because I thought for sure he was going to troll me and pick something that he knew that I fucking hated. Like, I Am Legend. And I will say, he told me that he picked Insidious. I sent you guys a message saying he picked Insidious. And like 20 minutes later, he called me back because he had been on break at work. And he was like, wait, I changed my mind. I want you to do I Am Legend. And I was like, too fucking late, man. I already told them I was doing Insidious. Yeah. So he really tried, but he failed. So Insidious came out in 2010, and it was directed by James Wan, who I love.
Woo-hoo.
I love James Wan a lot. He's one of my favorite, I guess, genre directors that's working right now. I think I've liked most of his movies. Yeah. So anyway, for people who haven't seen it, so Insidious is about this couple, Josh and Renee. And they have 3 kids, 2 sons, Foster and Dalton, and then a baby girl named Callie. And they've just moved into a new house. And, you know, there've been like a couple weird things, like books have fallen off shelves and, I don't know, a couple other little tiny things that have gone on, but nothing to concern anybody. And then one night, Dalton goes into the attic and he's scared by something, which causes him to fall and hit his head. So he seems okay, but the next morning, his dad goes in to wake him up, and he can't. He will not wake up. So he's in a coma, and the doctors really have no explanation for why he's in the coma. So 3 months later, Josh and Renee bring Dalton home to care for him there. And as soon as he comes home, like, bad shit starts happening, like, the same night. So Renee starts to hear voices over Callie's baby monitor, which are very, very, very creepy. Like, I want it, and I have to have it. and like just weird, gross stuff. And Foster, their other son, claims that Dalton walks around the house at night. And Renee, at one point, sees someone inside Callie's room, like inside her nursery, standing behind her crib, which, again, I have to say, as a parent, that is like, that part did not scare me that much the first time I saw this, which was when it came out. But now that I have a baby, that part scared the shit out of me. Like, that is your worst nightmare, to like go into your kid's room and there is someone in there. Like, oh my God, I've had bad dreams that has happened before. Like, anyway, that was the scariest part of the movie for me. And the burglar alarm starts to go off for no reason, right? So this all happens like in one night. And like weird stuff continues to happen. And Josh, the husband, he begins working later and later for kind of no reason except to avoid being at home. And he starts having these kind of weird, like, vision, dream, like, waking dream kind of things. And so while he's at work, Renee finds a bloody handprint on Dalton's sheets. And she confronts Josh when he comes home over what's been happening, and he ignores her. Later that night, Renee is attacked by the man that was in Callie's nursery. And she and Josh decide to abandon the house and move elsewhere. However, this is only like a third of the way through the movie, so you know it's not really going to work. But I do give them credit in this movie for moving, because there's most haunted house movies, they're like, no, I'm sure it's just our imagination. It'll be fine. And then they stay, and like bad things keep happening. So at least they like tried to get out. So when they move into the new house, the hauntings continue. Renee keeps seeing the ghost of a young boy wandering around. And one night, Josh's mother, Lorraine, arrives and said that she had a nightmare about a dark figure in Dalton's room. And then she sees the same figure, it's a demon with a red face, standing behind Josh. And right after this happens, Dalton's room is torn apart by an invisible force. So Lorraine calls 3 demonologists, Elise, Specs, and Tucker, to investigate the haunting. And they see the same red-faced demon that Lorraine saw in Dalton's room. So Elise explains to them that Dalton isn't in a coma. He's actually traveled to the astral plane and has become lost in a realm called the Further, which is inhabited by the tortured souls of the dead. So because his mind is stuck there, spirits can use his body as a conduit to travel to the physical world. So Elise performs a seance to try and locate Dalton, but Dalton's body becomes possessed by the demon before being stopped by Elise. And it's at this point that Elise reveals that she has known Lorraine for years, and she helped Josh, who can also astral project, block his memories of being possessed by a demon as a child. So I am going to ruin the end of this movie because I feel like it's been out for like almost 10 years. And you probably should have seen it by now. So sorry, guys.
I can't believe this came out 10 years ago. Well, 9 years ago.
2010, almost.
Holy shit.
Yeah, almost 10 years ago. I know. I know.
I'm getting old.
I know. So anyway, so Josh was possessed by a demon as a child, or I'm sorry, a demon was trying to possess him as a child, right? And so that is the like flashback memory, waking dreams that he's been having, right? Are kind of these long buried memories of what happened to him as a kid. So Elise puts Josh into a trance, and he's able to astral project into the Further. And he finds Dalton chained up in the demon's lair, but they're caught trying to escape. And while the demon kind of has them trapped, all of the ghosts use their bodies to enter the real world and start attacking everybody in the house. So Josh and Dalton do end up managing to escape. and Josh confronts the demon who tried to possess him as a child and defeats her. And at that point, Josh and Dalton wake up and all the spirits disappear. So Elise starts packing up her equipment to go, but she notices while Josh is helping her that his hands are dirty and like super wrinkly. And Josh is played by like my other boyfriend, Patrick Wilson, who has not a wrinkle on his body. So you know that something is wrong. So she takes his picture, and that sends Josh into a rage, and he strangles her to death. So Renee discovers Elise's body and looks at the picture she took of Josh, but instead of seeing Josh, the picture is of the demon who tried to possess him as a child. And the movie ends with Josh appearing behind Renee, and she turns around and gasps. And that's how it ends. I really like this movie a lot, and I really like the second one. I would say with this movie, I love it up until you get to the point where they start to explain what's happening. I love the first half, where it's just like relentless haunting and demon and scare after scare after scare after scare. You know, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And then the second half of the movie I do like, but not as much as the first half. But the reason my boyfriend picked this movie, I don't know if we're talking about why they picked them, unless it's just because they like them. But the reason he picked it is because he thinks astral projection would be really cool to do. Yeah, that's what he told me. Yeah. He's like, I just think that would be really neat. So I love that movie. I'm like, okay, well, good choice. I know. Fantastic. He is a total goofball. So yep. He's like, I just think that would be really cool. So well, you should do that movie.
You can tell Sergio that. Does he listen to this? You can tell him
yes, he
that
does.
I once had an experience with astral projection when
I
was
in
high school.
He's always
I
wanted
was
to do
asleep and I was having really bad anxiety at the time. And I thought I had woken up and I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. My body was really heavy and I dragged myself out of bed and dragged myself up to the door and got to touch the door handle. And when I went to turn the door handle, I actually woke up, like, in my body. But I thought for sure that I had woken up.
Really?
Yes. It was really fucking weird. And I mean, even if it was just a weird dream,
oh my God,
it's just amazing what our brains can do. I never want it to ever happen
really
again because it was one of the most frightening experiences of my life because it was terror and like I could hear how fast my heart was beating. But
wow, that's amazing. He's gonna be totally jealous.
It's not fun.
He's always wanted to do
that's how most people think about astral
He's always
projection,
wanted to do
though.
it.
I think a lot of people think about it as a willful thing, but I'm not sure.
Well, I think it's supposed to. I think in most stories of astral projection, it is a willful thing. Wasn't there a book by, I want to say, like Lois Duncan or something, called Stranger with My Face?
I didn't.
Did anybody
but that
read
was
that?
Lois Duncan, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-mm.
And it was this girl who, all of a sudden, this girl starts showing up in her room that looks exactly like her, and it turns out it's like her twin sister. It's in a mental institution and is astral projecting herself or something. I can't remember.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you should read it. I read it when I was like 12, so clearly I don't remember the details, but yeah. Anyway, Insidious, it's very good. I do highly recommend it. And Patrick Wilson, just my husband.
Yes.
And he and James Wan obviously work really well together because they did Insidious and Insidious 2. They did The Conjuring 2. And then Patrick Wilson is the villain in Aquaman. And he looked
so good.
Super hot. I loved Aquaman. And he looked amazing in Aquaman.
Yes.
And But I feel like he could come back in the sequel.
Maybe. Yeah. But okay, so this is sidetracking just a little bit, but okay, did you notice that there's one point where there's like you're seeing like the bottom of the sea and the camera is like racing along the bottom of the sea and there's an Annabelle doll sitting there?
No, but that's hysterical.
Yeah. I like freaked out when I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god! James Wynn!"
No, I definitely want to watch it again. Yeah. But yeah. So James Wan is just one of my favorite I mean, okay, so he did the original Saw movie. Amazing. He did Insidious and Insidious 2. Amazing. He did The Conjuring 2. Amazing. Now he's done Aquaman, and he did Fast and Furious 7. And I am a huge Fast and Furious fan. So that was a great movie. I will never hear any slander about Fast and Furious because they're amazing. They're legitimately good movies.
I don't think I've ever seen one of them all the way through.
I can't
slander them because I haven't
watched
seen
them all,
either.
guys. I'm telling you, it is a deconstruction of the American dream and how it applies to poor people.
I didn't realize that it was
That's
so
all that I'll say.
Progressive.
Okay.
I'm telling you, watch it. Watch them all. I have a box set. I pay to see all of them in the theater. But yeah, anyway, back to Insidious. I really like it. I'm glad that I rewatched it because I had forgotten a lot of it. But yeah, it definitely held up after a rewatch, which is always appreciated. You know, sometimes you see a movie once and you're like, oh, that was so good. And then kind of when like the shine has worn off and you watch it a second time, it's like, boy, that kind of sucked. Why did I like that so much the first time around? But that was not the case with this movie. It was very good the second time around. And I have seen the second one and love it. It's almost more of a domestic drama, you know, because they're having all these family problems because their husband's like possessed or whatever. And, you know, as happens. And I have not seen the third one or the prequel. Is the last one that came out a prequel?
I think so.
Okay, I have not seen those, but I did see the first two and enjoyed both of them.
So I feel like this movie ruined that song, Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Yes.
Oh my
God, for like everybody. For everyone. Because I remember when this movie came out, it was huge. Yeah, and everybody just,
That is the one scene. I was just
that
going
song.
to say that. That's the one scene from this movie that just sticks with me. And I think about it all the time still. Just the fact that, like, I think there's a cut where before you see the little boy out in the open, you see him just kind of standing there as she walks by with a trash bag. And it's very subtle, and just I think about that all the time. All the time when I'm home alone.
So good. So good.
My favorite scene is the demon dancing downstairs to that song.
I don't like it.
Or not downstairs, in his little room or whatever. Just like standing there like dancing to the song. It's the best.
It's actually kind of cute when you talk about it that way, though. Like, he's happy. He's dancing to a song. There's nothing wrong.
It doesn't sound scary. Yeah.
And his little Dutch, like, doesn't he have, like, a little Dutch sailor outfit on? Or am I just projecting that from when I saw it, like, 10 years ago? The little boy.
That.
I don't think he's wearing a Dutch sailor outfit.
The boy. He's dancing to the Tiptoe to the through the
Oh, the boy.
Song.
I'm talking about the demon. Okay. The red-faced demon. In his, like, lair, he has the music playing.
Oh, it's so funny to think about that demon
the little boy
in that
is wearing
outfit,
an
though.
outfit.
He's so masculine.
I know, I was like, I don't remember the demon wearing a sailor outfit.
Yeah, I was confused, too. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I saw a different movie, I guess.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, good pick. Thank you, Sergio. for picking something that I like and that I hadn't seen in a long time, so it was kind of fun to rewatch it because I did forget how much
you
I
almost
liked
didn't
it.
get off the hook, though.
So, oh my god, I'm telling you, we've got to do an episode that's like worst adaptations, and I will do I Am Legend, and I will rant for the entire hour.
Either. No.
I love the book.
I don't like it at all. I liked it until I had to like help teach a class on it, and then when I thought about it too much, I really, really hated it. Okay.
Nikki, what did your boyfriend pick?
Paul picked Velvet Buzzsaw, which I believe came out this year. I didn't do any research on it.
I
it
think
came out this
like
month.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it came out this month, beginning February 1st, I think it came out.
That's the great thing about streaming services. So, Velvet Buzzsaw is a movie that is about a woman who is involved in, and I have to apologize in advance because I don't know anything about, like, I don't even know what to call it, the art scene, the art industry. I don't know anything about it.
I would call it the art industry.
The industry, yeah, because it primarily deals with monetary gain from artists and art. Anyway, I didn't fully understand everyone's roles in this movie because it deals with a lot of professions in the art industry. But basically, this movie is about this woman who works in the art industry, and a man in her apartment building dies, an old guy, and she hears that they're going to destroy everything that is in the apartment. And so she sneaks in and sees that the man has done all of these wonderful, bizarre, disturbing paintings, and that he's a true master. And although there are explicit instructions in his will to destroy everything, she takes all of the art and begins to make money off of it. And several people begin to make money off of it. Several monies. Like, that's what happens when you have more than $1, I guess. Monies. Several. So this movie has Toni Collette and Jake Gyllenhaal and other people that I really loved but don't know their names because I was really lazy on research for this. I kind of just let it wash over me. And what happens is all these people who begin to take a piece of this pie, anyone who profits off of the art begins dying in a horrible way. And they all die in ways that is involved with art, which is really vague, but you're just going to have to watch the movie. I don't want to explain it, because I think explaining it is just going to be really anticlimactic. The paintings are a little bit like a painting that Miranda talked about quite a few episodes ago called The Hands Resist Him, correct? Although I do think that it's kind of following the haunted art culture that happens on the internet. Like, every once in a while, someone comes up trying to sell this allegedly haunted painting and sells it for, like, tons of money. But I thought the most interesting thing that this movie dealt with was, what do we do with someone's art when they die, even if they don't want it distributed to the public? Which is something that I think happens all the time, and it's happened very famously with, I can't even think of who now. I'm thinking of Sylvia Plath, especially with her journals, you know, things that are so personal that perhaps maybe the person wouldn't have wanted distributed, but do humanity some good,
yeah.
People could argue. I really like that question. I like the way it dealt with that question. I think there was a resounding don't do it in this, but I don't know.
Also, the thing is, though, is like there's all these paintings sitting in his room, and they just want to throw them away. Because he didn't have any family, so I think, like, it's also a question of, do you just let that go to waste? It's good art. You know, like, what's the greater evil? Like, letting that art go to waste?
And that's the thing, but I noticed that they put
specifically
specifically in there that only if you profit from the art do you get killed that way? So if you were to distribute the art for free, would it happen? That's never answered, I don't think.
No.
Right.
No. It wouldn't happen, because the whole movie, I believe, is a negative critique of the art industry as a whole, and the people who control the art industry, who don't give a shit about artwork. They don't care about the artistic value. They care that they can make money off of it. And that's what it's, I think, a critique of. And that's why if you make money off this man's art, you die. Right? Because they're not selling the art because they think it's good. They're selling the art because they think it's profitable.
And in doing so, they're also completely ignoring this man's lived experience and this man's, like, totally terrible past. Right. And they're just ignoring the humanity
because they
that
don't
made
care
the
about the art.
Yeah. So I thought
yes, because they
I
don't
it was
care
a really
about
good
the art.
film. I wasn't surprised by anything that happened in it, but I thought it was a good, thoughtful film.
I was surprised by Jake Gyllenhaal's wig in this movie because it was horrific. It was horrific. I was just like, what's on his head? It looked like a fucking mop. Oh, it was so bad.
Okay, now I need to look up a picture.
To be honest, I didn't notice.
Oh my god.
It obviously didn't bother me that much.
I didn't notice.
It was bad. Sometimes when it's like an aggressively bad hairpiece in a movie, I really notice.
I did notice that. I think his performance was my favorite in this film, though. Jake Gyllenhaal's. I loved his character.
He was amazing.
I have never seen him do anything quite
he
like
did so
that,
well.
and I was invested in him, even though he was kind of a bad person. I think he really created a multi-layered character that you could invest in.
Yeah. I mean, he really, like, fell headfirst into that role. I loved it.
Oh, I think Jake Gyllenhaal is one of those actors that I appreciate that he, even though he's like a star, he makes these kind of weird, artsy movies, right? This is not... So he made a really, really, really good movie with the same director called Nightcrawler, which was great. But it was very disturbing, very violent, very disturbing movie. But I like that he does that. I like that he, he makes his money with a blockbuster, and then he does kind of these, like, really strange, dark movies. And so I like that. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything with him in it for a while, so this was kind of a nice, like, revisiting Jake Gyllenhaal thing.
Well, and part of that is because he's been doing a lot of Broadway. He just did, I think last year, or maybe the year before, he did the musical Sunday in the Park with George on Broadway. And now he's doing a play on Broadway. And he has just been spending his time doing these, like, weird-ass movies that are great. They're great. These, like, really dark, fucked up, bizarre movies. But obviously this is what he likes doing. Yeah. So, good for him. And I love Toni Collette. And I love Renee Russo, who's the lead.
I was, like, just enchanted by her. I don't know that I've seen her in anything before, but I just, like, could not take my eyes off of her.
She's married to the director.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, but she's great. She's been great in a lot of stuff. But, she's definitely one that as she started to get older, the parts started drying up. So thank God she's married to this, like, brilliant writer-director who writes for these great parts.
Older than what?
35.
Really?
That's about the cutoff.
I know. That's just crazy, though. She's ridiculously gorgeous and talented.
Have you guys... This is off topic, but have you guys ever seen the Amy Schumer sketch Last Fuckable Day?
Yes. I love that.
Okay. Oh my god.
We're celebrating our last fuckable day.
It is hysterical. But the premise of the sketch is who is it? It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Patricia Arquette, and Tina Fey, right?
Yeah, Tina Fey's definitely in it.
Yeah. And they're celebrating the fact that this is the last day that anybody is going to want to fuck Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Because she's now just too old. She's too old for men to want her. And so they, like, put her on a boat and, like, push her out to sea or something. It's hysterical. It's so funny. It's so... I'll send you the sketch. It is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I think of when I think about these actresses, you know, being 35 and being like, but now you're too old. You know? Or how you have these movies with, like, a man in his late 50s and the woman who's playing his girlfriend is, like, 23. Or like Jennifer Lawrence, who I love, you know, won her Oscar for Silver Linings Playbook, where she's supposed to be a widow.
Yep.
Who's clearly supposed to be, like, early 30s, and she was 21 when she played the part. And she was paired with Bradley Cooper, who was, like, mid-30s.
Yeah, my friend, I'm not going to say who she is because I think people know who she is now, but she is now in a show, and she's playing a high school student, and she's like...
It's ridiculous.
23, 24? I don't remember. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyway... But yeah, so that's why parts, I think, for Renee Russo started to kind of dry up, is because she got old by Hollywood standards. And she wasn't a big enough star to overcome it. You know, you have people like Meryl Streep and Helen Mirren who are big stars, and so they're still given parts, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of actresses are not big enough stars to make mainstream Hollywood movies once they get beyond a certain age.
No, right. Those are the exceptions to the rule that actually...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sad stuff. Well, this is a bummer that we ended on.
But it's such a good movie. Everybody should watch it.
Mm-hmm. It was really good. I think it was nice because, like, I think your boyfriends both picked something they had seen. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And well, he picked something that we both hadn't seen, so we got to kind of experience it together, which is neat.
Mm-hmm. That's fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, actually,
fun.
Tyler
really
and I watched
it.
Velvet Buzzsaw together, too. So
I really liked it a lot.
Oh, I wanted to say, before we stop...
I know.
That Natalia Dyer's character...
We started counting bosses.
We felt like, so bad for her the whole time.
I was like, what is this going to do
because
to
she just
woman?
kept
is she
finding
think
everybody
I can
dead?
Never go into the workforce ever again? Like, I have to work at home?
Like, the poor girl.
I know.
Yeah. God, that's...
I know.
That's what I was thinking. Like how would that affect you in your life? Like, I would just be traumatized forever. Be like, I can never work another job again. I kill all my bosses.
I was almost waiting for this film to end with her being the only one left and having the paintings fall to her, and then this moral decision has to be made. Like, is she going to profit off of it or not? Which I'm kind of sad they didn't go that way, but I didn't hate the ending. I thought it just kind of ended, though. I don't know. Like, I get it how... Okay, so...
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. I get it how now street vendors are going to be selling the art, and even for $5, it's going to, like, make them die a horrible death, too, but...
I think the copies, too.
See, okay, that's the thing that I was wondering, though, was, like, is it the actual painting, or is it a copy of the painting?
I think Prince would do it,
but
too.
But they're still profiting off of the artwork.
But if it's...
That's some powerful juju, I don't know.
Because the original paintings were painted with blood.
Because whoever
the original paintings were painted with blood.
Whoever owns
I
the
guess
rights
I
to
assumed
art
that it would.
Has to license it for...
Sorry, what, Rachel?
Those copies to be made. And so... the people who are selling them are still making money off the art.
Yeah.
But they obviously did, because otherwise Prince wouldn't have been made.
But they were... Well, yeah, but they were on cardboard. It's not like they had a licensing agreement. They were like...
Well, okay... Those weren't prints, were they, though? They were just extras, right? Or were they not?
I'm gonna look. Hang on one sec.
I don't know. That's my question, is it was on cardboard. It almost looked like it was just painted onto cardboard.
So I would say that even if it was a
selling.
reproduction or a print, that it would be still applicable. Like I think, is your painting that you talked about, Miranda? Mm-hmm. So sometimes they say even looking at a picture of it will make bad things start happening to you, which would be the same concept as like you're not looking at the original.
Yeah.
But, so I think it's like conceptually, it doesn't have to be the physical object that the blood was put into.
Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says selling some of his paintings.
Yeah.
So it doesn't say if it's the actual paintings or if it's just copies. But I think the idea is that the cycle will continue. It's not going to end here. That he's selling them to people who might sell them to somebody else, and it'll just keep going. Yes, it's a good movie.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. All good picks. Mm-hmm. All good.
They did really well. I don't want to say surprised, but
they did.
I'm impressed. They all did a good job. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at QOTD Podcast, on Facebook at facebook.com/QOTD Podcast, Tumblr at queensofthedamnpodcast.tumblr.com, and YouTube at Queens of the Damn Podcast.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, and TuneIn Radio. You can also follow us on our blog, queensofthedamnpodcast.wordpress.com, to find bonus content and extra information on our episodes.
If you would like to donate to our show, you can find us at patreon.com/QOTD podcast, where you can receive special perks as a listener for becoming a monthly patron. If you would like to make a one-time donation, you can send it to QOTDpodcast@gmail.com on PayPal. We'll see you next week.
Do you enjoy Dungeons & Dragons, video games, role-playing games, comic books, science fiction, fantasy, and movies? Check out Point of Insanity Network, where we bring you the Geekery in General podcast, where we will discuss a variety of topics of geek interest. We also offer Gamer's Gambit, a monthly look at current events and trends in the video game industry. If martial arts are your thing, check out The Casual Martial Artist, where we discuss topics of interest to the martial artist as well as people who just enjoy martial arts. Find us at poigamestudio.podbean.com.